Another weather update. We're seeing a break in that rain here across the Houston area, but we're not out of the woods yet, especially as we head towards the warmer parts of the day. Here's a live look right now looking over downtown Houston. We're seeing lots of breezy conditions. I don't know if you've noticed, if you stepped outside, the winds have picked up a bit, and that's all thanks to storms that are approaching from the southwest of us. As we go into looking at the big picture, we are expecting those conditions to remain mostly calm, at least for the next 5-10 minutes. But we're still tracking this boundary that is causing some trailing showers. And as we get to the warm parts of the day, we're seeing this trailing shower stretch as far west as Uvalde, just west of San Antonio. And we are expecting these to make a more of an easterly track as we head throughout the next few hours. So right now we are seeing some downpours and some stronger storms now approaching the Houston area from the southwest of town. We are expecting some storms to become a little bit more stronger as we are seeing some isolated cells that are having a lot of lightning associated with it. So as we see that lightning increase as those storms get closer to Houston, that's kind of a sign that these storms are starting to become a little bit strong, and we could see some pea-sized hail with it as we go into the next possibly hour or two. Right now, most of the rain activity is remaining along our coastal areas near off to Galveston, even Bay City, Palacios. They're dealing with their fair share of rain just south of Houston. The good news is that this area hasn't received as much rain that the area north of Houston received, so the flooding threat at the current moment is very low. Also, these breaks in rain activity is actually helping the situation as we definitely are seeing that lower flood threat here across the Houston area. So widespread showers and storms now approaching from the southwest of the Houston area. So expect that rain to once again increase for us here within the next hour or two as these storms are pushing off towards the northwest. So this time they're coming from the south of the Houston area across just south from South Texas, as this boundary is just draped across the southern half of the state. So as we look at the big picture across the area, we're seeing the rain becoming less common. We're seeing mostly quiet conditions for our northern areas. They're still under those flood warnings along those major waterways that are already dealing with the catastrophic flooding and the inundation of the water within the past, the rainfall with the past few days. And just keep in mind that we very well could still see some of these showers track up towards the north, upstream from the San Jacinto River, even the west and east forks of the San Jacinto River, as well as Trinity Rivers out in Trinity County. So expecting this rain to be approaching from the southwest, we very well could start seeing most of these showers start increasing and moving into the Houston area within the next possibly 20 to 30 minutes. And we very well could see some pea-sized hail with these storms as they are making their way in from the southwest. They are fast moving. That's the good news in all of this. However, as long as we have that boundary that is set up across the southern half of the state, we're going to continue to see these trailing showers and these trailing storms at least for the next few hours. They're going to be moving in from the east, though the National Weather Service is actually issuing a special weather statement for Austin and Colorado counties. And just keep in mind that we could see some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts with that particular storm, and that is along the I-10 corridor just to the west of Columbus. So if you have any folks traveling from San Antonio, or if you're watching from San Antonio, just keep in mind that we're going to see these showers and storms. It's going to be a very messy trip if you are making a road trip today back to the Houston area, or vice versa, back to the San Antonio area, because we are seeing most of those showers, those storms, just trailing along I-10. And oddly enough, they are sticking along the I-10 corridor and heading in the direction towards Houston. So be extra careful out there if you do come across. This area has not received much rain, so we're not going to be dealing with any flooding issues. However, as this area does start to receive the rain in the afternoon hours, we very well could see some of those that flooding concern in terms of ponding on roadways. So one thing to note, like I said before, as we get to the warmer parts of our day, the sunshine, we had a break in the cloud activity. I don't know if you saw the sun peek out within the past maybe 30 minutes to an hour. That's not really good news when we're dealing with an unstable atmosphere. That sunshine, that warmth, those temperatures usually does provide fuel for storms to become a bit stronger, especially as we head towards the warmer parts of the day, which is around 3-4 p.m. So as we get warmer, we very well could still see an isolated strong or severe storm threat here across the southern half of the state, especially for us here across the Houston area, as as what we've been seeing. We've been seeing a couple of isolated cells that are packing a bit of a punch. They're not severe warned, but the National Weather Service is issuing a special weather statement like this cell right here along I-10 west of Columbus. It's moving off towards the northeast. That has a quarter-size hail as well as 40-mile-an-hour winds. And just keep in mind, I-10 is right there. You will be going into that west of Columbus as that's very quickly tracking off towards the Houston area there. So if you're traveling west of Houston today for Sunday, you're traveling back to San Antonio or traveling to Houston from San Antonio, it's going to be a stormy trip across the area, stretching as far west as we are dealing with this increasing showers and storms south of the Houston area. Lots of lightning with these storms, and as they make their way closer towards Houston, they're sort of increasing in size as they come in contact with that more humid air and those southerly winds that we're currently seeing. So to sum it all up, if you are across Houston right now, we're dealing with another round of those storms that are about to move in from the south. That's south of Sugar Land, that's League City, Alvin, Angleton, Bay Harbor, Galveston. There we're dealing with the widespread rain coverage at the current moment with these storms moving into the Houston area towards those flooding areas, especially for the north of our area. So the good news in all of this is that Houston has not really received much rain in terms of areas from downtown and southward. So the flooding risk is very low as long as we get these breaks in rain within the next few hours, where we're going to see a relatively low flood risk. However, if you get a lot of rain happening in a short amount of time, that's when we're going to start seeing those ponding on roadways. Our soils here in Houston proper, not as saturated as what's been going on just north of the city, in and around upstream from Lake Houston, even the San Jacinto River. So those flood warnings definitely still in effect for portions of Harris County. That does include areas downstream from the Lake Houston Dam, as they are dealing with some flooding ongoing in and around Crosby and Sheldon. There has been some high water rescues in and around that location, as well as some high water rescues happening in and around the Humble and Kingwood area. The National Weather Service is keeping those flood warnings in effect. That's upstream from Lake Houston, the west and east forks of the San Jacinto River. You're able to see that right there as they're dealing with that flooding, all thanks to the rain that we received within the past several days. Also, we can't forget about the Trinity River out in Trinity County. They're dealing with also a flood warning along I-10, or actually along Highway 90 in and around Liberty across the area. So just keep in mind that this, I think Groveton and Trinity got over close to 2 feet of rain within the past 5 to 6 days. So right now, the northern areas that have been suffering from this catastrophic flooding, they're getting a little bit of a break. So the rivers are having some opportunity to drain off southward. However, as we go into the warmer parts of the day, we are expecting that storm risk to start increasing in terms of severity going into the around 3 o'clock to 4 p.m. So we're going to go ahead and track out our future track. There are short-term future track models that we usually use on air not have really been performing all that well in terms of what's been going on right now in terms of how it's treating these storms. So what we do know is that we are expecting this rain to wrap up around 6 to 7 p.m. and we are expecting to have a rather quiet evening, latter evening into the overnight hours, and this is going to be our last of our rain chances, at least for the next few days. So that's very good news in terms of that. But as we go into looking at our models here, we are expecting still those downpours moving from the south into the Houston area as we get closer towards the 2 p.m. hour, and then as we get closer towards around 5 or 6 o'clock, that's when we are expecting this rain chance to end. We very well could still see some lingering showers across southeast Texas, and it's not going to take much rain to contribute to the already ongoing flooding situation north of the city as well as north of Lake Houston and around our areas in Montgomery and Walker counties, even portions of Polk County, where they're dealing with some flooding in and around Lake Livingston, which they got a lot of rain earlier this morning. So the rain situation still under the gun for those widespread showers and storms. We do have some good news in terms of Houston being on the lower end of that flood risk, all thanks to these breaks in rain and all thanks to our soils not being as saturated as it is as as for areas just up to the north of us. But just keep in mind that if you are heading out and about within the next possibly 20 minutes to 30 minutes, we are expecting more showers and storms to move into the Houston area, as well as some of these storms becoming a little bit stronger. I think the main threat right now, I'd say, is probably some pea-sized hail with these storms as we go into the afternoon hours. As we warm up, it's going to be interesting to see how these storms react to the warmer temperatures, but we're definitely tracking these showers moving in now from the south. They were moving in towards the east, but now we're seeing these storms moving in from the south. So our coastal areas from Galveston along 45, even south of downtown Houston, now getting their fair share of rain. I don't think it's going to last as long as what we saw for areas north of us a couple of days ago, but we are expecting these trailing showers and storms to at least last until 5 to 6 p.m. and then after 6 p.m. rain chances diminish, but just keep in mind that we could see some stronger storms here and there, as well as that little minor hail threat with them as we go into the afternoon hours. So rain on the way for Houston. Once again, another round of showers and some storms moving in from the south. So keep that in mind. Be extra careful on the roadways, as well as if you come across a flooded roadway for our northern areas, make sure to turn around, don't drown. There has been some high water rescues. It's very hard to tell how deep the water is. I don't know if y'all saw that video out in College Station where the person driving the car ended up in a stream because they couldn't see where the stream began and ended. You don't want to be in that situation as we dealing with this flooding situation just north of town. But flooding risk, very low at the moment. But if we're going to continue to see these trailing showers and storms, we could start seeing ponding on roadways here across Houston. And as always, you can stay up to date with the latest weather information on KHOU.com as well as on the KHOU app.